Hello friends, in today's video we are going to discuss about diuretics. Diuretics are the pharmacological agents or chemical agents which causes excretion of urine from our body, which means it causes water loss from our body. So they are classified mainly into three types on the basis of their efficacy. First is high ceiling diuretics, then medium efficacy diuretics, and weak efficacy diuretics. Under high ceiling diuretics, one subclass is there. It is known as loop diuretics. So drugs under loop diuretics are furosemide, bumetanide, torsemide, and ethacrynic acid. This ethacrynic acid shows many adverse effect and toxicity, so therefore it is not that much used clinically, while other three are used frequently. Then next class come, that is under medium efficacy. One things under high ceiling diuretics, they inhibit sodium potassium chloride co-transport. As we know, in our body for transportation there is various mechanisms like symport, antiport, and coports. So under which one type is sodium potassium chloride co-transport. So this high ceiling diuretics inhibits sodium potassium chloride co-transport. Next is medium efficacy, they inhibit sodium chloride symport. Symport means they will conduct the molecule in same direction. Under medium efficacy, there are two subclasses on the basis of their chemical natures. The first is benzothiazide and second is thiazide-like diuretics. First we will see about benzothiazides or thiazide diuretics. The drugs are hydrochlorothiazide, hydroflumethiazide, and benzthiazide. So this was first subclass, that is benzothiazide or thiazide diuretics. Next is thiazide-likes, means their structure resembles thiazides only. So the drugs are chlorthalidone, metolazone, zipamide, indapamide, and clopamide. The next class is carbonic anhydrase inhibitor. They inhibit enzyme carbonic anhydrase, under which the drug is acetazolamide, which is used orally. While in our one of the video of that is from glaucoma, we have discussed carbonic anhydrase inhibitor. There we have seen three drugs. First one was brinzazolamide, and was acetazolamide, and third was dorzolamide. Other two drugs, that means brinzolamide and dorzolamide, are used topically, while this acetazolamide are used orally. So for the purpose of increasing urine outflow, acetazolamide is preferred from carbonic anhydrase inhibitor. Next subclass comes osmotic diuretics. They do not have that much clinical use, under which the drugs are mannitol, glycerol, isosorbide. Then last subclass is potassium sparing diuretics, which is further divided into two subclass. First is aldosterone antagonist, and second is renal epithelial sodium channel inhibitor, under which first class, that is aldosterone antagonist, the drugs are spironolactone and eplerenone. This spironolactone is steroidal compound and it contains lactone ring. Then last subclass is renal epithelial sodium channel inhibitors, under which there are only two drugs, triamterone and amiloride. So this was overall about classification of diuretics on the basis of their efficacy, that means high ceiling, medium efficacy, and weak efficacy. Now we will see about diuretics and site of action of diuretics on nephron. The main site of action of diuretics are nephron, but different diuretic shows their action on different site of nephron. So this is the structure of nephron. This blue color indicates Bowman's capsule, which contains afferent and efferent arterioles. So next come PCT, then descending loop, then ascending, then distal convoluted tubule, and CT&CD, that means convoluted tubules and convoluted duct or collecting duct. So first site we will see, that is proximal convoluted tubule. Here carbonic anhydrase inhibitors will show action. They inhibits the reabsorption of carbonic ions. Then next is descending loop, but on descending loop no drug shows action, while on ascending loops loop diuretics shows action, as its names only indicate loop diuretics, which means it will show action on loop of Henle but specifically on ascending loop, which is thicker. In ascending loop they inhibit sodium potassium chloride co-transport. Next is on DCT, that means distal convoluted tubule. Here the drugs or class that will show the actions are thiazide and thiazide like. They inhibit sodium chloride symport and inhibits reabsorption of sodium and chloride. While the last class is last site is CT and CD, which means collecting duct. Here the potassium sparing will show the action. One important concept while studying diuretics is when sodium is absorbed in the body, along with sodium water is also absorbed. So as water increases, load on heart and arteries increases. It results in hypertension. This is just one concept which will helpful in diuretics also, as well as in antihypertensive drugs also. So water is also absorbed along with sodium. So what diuretics will do? They will inhibit the absorption of sodium. As a result, absorption of water will also decrease and water excretion increases from body. But one problem comes here: along with sodium, the absorption of potassium is also decreased. But potassium plays essential role in our body, so it is one of the problem with diuretics. So new class was introduced, that is potassium sparing diuretics, which means that decreases the excretion of potassium from body. So first class we will study is thiazide, its mechanism of action. So as discussed in classification, they inhibit sodium chloride symport on luminal membrane of distal convoluted tubule. We have also seen it in the diuretics and the site of nephron on which they show action. So just remember, they inhibit sodium chloride symporter on distal convoluted tubules. This is the only mechanism of action of thiazide diuretics in just one line. So as a result, reabsorption of sodium is decreased. This is our main goal in diuretics, because reabsorption or absorption of sodium decreases. As a result, absorption of water also decreases. So next come action of thiazide. So they increases excretion of sodium and chloride, and as its mechanism of action only indicates. So they also causes loss of potassium and magnesium, while next they decreases the calcium excretion, and also they decreases vascular resistance. So this decrease in vascular resistance is beneficial in antihypertensive. Next come uses. They are used in hypertension. As discussed, they decreases vascular resistance, so they are useful in hypertension. Then heart failure, then diabetes insipidus. So these are the three main uses, that is hypertension, heart failure and diabetes insipidus. While we study about diuretics, we have to also study about which diuretics causes excretion of which ions or causes retention of which ions. So here we have just make one diagram. On left side, this is decreased urinary excretion, which means it will cause retention in the body, which means increases absorption, whilst right hand shows increased urinary excretion, which means it decreases reabsorption. So thiazide diuretics will increase the excretion of sodium and potassium, while it will decrease the excretion of calcium. Next come adverse effect. So they causes hyponatremia. If we look of the action, or we look about this diagram, this will help in to understand adverse effect, because it increases excretion of sodium, so the adverse effect will be hyponatremia. Also it causes excretion of potassium, so the adverse effect will be hypokalemia. Then also it causes hyperuricemia and hyperglycemia also, which means increase glucose level in the body. One last points regarding thiazide diuretics, that is its pharmacokinetics. It is administered orally. It is secreted, which means it is excreted by organic acid secretory system. Then next come loop diuretics, also known as high ceiling diuretics, as seen in the classification. They shows action on ascending loop of Henle. Then their mechanism of action: it inhibits sodium potassium chloride co-transport in lumen membrane of ascending loop. So here main words are inhibit sodium potassium chloride co-transport and ascending loop of Henle. This is only the mechanism of loop diuretics in just one lines. Then next come uses. It is drug of choice in heart failure. Means thiazide diuretics are also used, but loop diuretics are drug of choice. Means thiazide diuretics are given prior 30 minutes to loop diuretics. Means if means they are given before 30 minutes before administrating loop diuretics. Next use is to treat acute pulmonary edema in emergency. Then to treat hypercalcemia and hyperkalemia. Hyperkalemia means increase, which means if there is increase in potassium level in the body, so for that treatment loop diuretics are used. And also if there is increased calcium level in the body, then also loop diuretics are used. Next come their pharmacokinetics. They are ingested either orally or IV, but mainly if we talk about in treatment of acute pulmonary edema in emergency, so that time they are given through IV, otherwise in normal treatment in oral only. Then their duration of action is 2 to 4 hours. Then ion action related to ions, as discussed earlier. Left will indicate the decreased urinary excretion, while right will indicate increased urinary excretion, which means decrease absorption. So it will cause increase excretion of sodium, potassium, calcium, and also it increase volume of urine. While in thiazide diuretics there was some opposite, which means calcium reabsorption was taking place, but here reabsorption is decrease and urinary excretion is increase. Next come adverse effect. One of the main adverse effect related loop diuretics are ototoxicity, which means related to ears. Then comes hyperuricemia, means increased uric acid level in the body. Then acute hypovolemia, as the diagram indicates, it increases volume of urine, so therefore there will be less volume of water in the body, so it will cause acute hypovolemia. Then next is hypomagnesia. So till now we have seen two classes of diuretics. First one was thiazide diuretics and next one was loop diuretics. There are thiazide like diuretics also, but their mechanism of action is same and all the properties are same as like thiazide diuretics. So next come potassium sparing diuretics. As we have discussed earlier, along with sodium, potassium is also excreted through our body, which causes one of the important adverse effect, because potassium plays an important role in our body regarding central nervous system. So in order to tackle with that problem, new class was introduced, that is potassium sparing diuretics. They inhibit sodium reabsorption and causes potassium retention. So first class under potassium sparing diuretics are aldosterone antagonist. As we know, aldosterone is secreted by adrenal gland, which is responsible for increased hypertension, under which there are only two drugs, spironolactone and eplerenone. Spironolactone is steroidal compound containing lactone ring, as discussed in classification only. So their mechanism of action: they antagonize the aldosterone at intracellular cytoplasmic receptor site. They directly binds to the aldosterone receptor and antagonizes its effects. Next come its uses. Then spironolactone is diuretic of choice in patient with hepatic cirrhosis. Just remember, it is not drug of choice, it is diuretic of choice. If a patient is suffering from hepatic cirrhosis and and that patients require diuresis, so the drug of choice will be spironolactone. Then next is heart failure. It prevents remodeling and mortality associated with heart failure. Then ascites, which means excessive abdominal fluids. So these are main uses of aldosterone antagonist, and along with that, it is also used to treat polycystic ovary syndrome. So they inhibits steroidal receptor present in the ovary. So these are the four uses of aldosterone antagonist. Means first is diuretic of choice in hepatic cirrhosis, then heart failure, ascites, which means excess abdominal fluid, and last is polycystic ovary syndrome. Then next point comes pharmacokinetics. They are administered orally, and spironolactone is a prodrug, which means it will not show any effect till it is converted to its active metabolite, and its active metabolism is canrenone. Then its adverse effect: gastric upset, gynecomastia, and menstrual irregularities. This gynecomastia is commonly adverse effect related with steroids, and as spironolactone is a steroid, it will show gynecomastia. Next class, first was aldosterone antagonist under potassium sparing diuretics, and second class is renal epithelial sodium channel blocker. The two drugs under this class are triamterone and amiloride. Their mechanism of action: they decrease sodium potassium exchange. They should not be administered in patient receiving ACI, which means angiotensin converting enzyme. Then ARBs, that is angiotensin receptor blockers. Then beta blockers. Then NSAIDs, that means non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and patient with renal impairment. If we see, these ACE inhibitors, ARBs, beta blockers are commonly used in treatment of hypertension. Then both drugs elevates plasma digoxin level. It means if they are administered with digoxin, which is mainly used to treat heart failure, if they are administered with digoxin, it will increase their plasma level, which may cause digoxin toxicity. Then first, that is triamterene. It impairs glucose tolerance and causes phototoxicity. It causes rise in blood urea, which means hyperuricemia. And second drug is our amiloride. It is 10 times more potent than triamterene, and it blocks entry of lithium through sodium channel in collecting ducts and mitigates DI, which means diabetes insipidus, induced by lithium. Diabetes insipidus is disorder related with aldosterone, in which patients suffer from frequent urination. So last class is carbonic anhydrase inhibitor. Their mechanism of action: in nephron, specifically in PCT, one process takes place. Means carbon dioxide and water combines. in the presence of enzyme carbonic anhydrase to form carbonic acid. So simply mechanism, as name indicates, carbonic anhydrase inhibitors will inhibit this carbonic anhydrase. Their uses, mainly they are used in glaucoma, as we have seen in our previous video of glaucoma. 3 drugs were used. We have remember by Shortrick's bad, brinzolamide, acetazolamide and dorzolamide, where they decreases the secretion of aqueous humor. Then they are used also in mountain sickness. And what are their effect on various ion? They increases the urine excretion of sodium, potassium and carbonate ion. Then adverse effect, it causes metabolic acidosis. Then potassium depletion. This metabolic acidosis means increase acidity in our body, because body have to maintain the pH at neutral level, that means just closely to 7.2, but in metabolic acidosis there is decrease in pH. Then renal stone formation and drowsiness, and they are also avoided in patient with hepatic cirrhosis, which means if any patient is suffering from disease of liver, so they should be avoided. For that purpose, other drug is used. We have seen that is spironolactone.